गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। हरिः ओम्। अकार उकार मकार प्रणवम् अकार उकार मकार प्रणवम् अर्धमात्रम् ओंकार प्रणवम् अर्धमात्रम् ओंकार प्रणवम् नादरूपम् ओंकार प्रणवम् नादरूपम् ओंकार प्रणवम् बिन्दुरूपम् ओंकार प्रणवम् बिन्दुरूपम् ओंकार प्रणवम् अकार उकार मकार प्रणवम् शक्तिरूपम् ओंकार प्रणवम् शान्तरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् बीजरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् बिन्दुरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् शक्तिरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् शान्तरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् परमपुरुषम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् परमपुरुषम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् आत्मरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् ब्रह्मरूपम् ओङ्कारप्रणवम् अकार उकार मकार प्रणवम् अर्धमात्रम् ओङ्कार प्रणवम् ओङ्कार प्रणवम् ओङ्कार प्रणवम् ओङ्कार प्रणवम् ॐ नमो वासुदेवाय सत्यज्ञानसुखात्मने अखण्डायाप्यमूलाय मायिने सर्वसाक्षिणे मायिने सर्वसाक्षिणे Remembering the inner witness, who is none other than the Vasudeva, the one divine being in whom all the worlds exist, and also he is the one who exists everywhere in this universe, in this creation. He is without the cause, without a beginning, and he is endless, continuous, indivisible, and he is the one who holds the creative power of Maya, and he is also the inner witness in all of us. We offer our salutations unto him. When Omkara is understood to be as one of the main practices for the practitioners in the spiritual path to uplift themselves, then it becomes important for us to concentrate upon Omkara. When we concentrate upon Omkara, then we come to experience the manifestation of the higher level of consciousness. Or, in other words, when we concentrate upon Om, either by chanting Omkara or listening to Omkara or reflecting upon it or doing japa of Omkara or even contemplating upon the higher meanings of Omkara, and finally meditating upon Omkara. When we do any one of these things, or few or many of these things, then there will be the manifestation of Brahmic level of consciousness in us. This is an easy way of coming face to face inside with the Brahmic level of consciousness. But we have to have the concentration with the clear understanding of the Omkara. Omkara is also the substratum for all the sounds. All the alphabets that are there are also utilized by us, pronounced by us in our communication as a language within the parameters of Akara, Ukara and Makara. The way in which we pronounce many of these alphabets fall into these categories which are connected with Akara, Ukara and Makara. That way we come to understand that Omkara is the substratum for all these alphabets also, all the sounds also. And also there are certain studies done by few people in their inner world and as well as this outer world. What is the sound that is heard when there are these planets in movement or solar system or galaxies in movement? Then few of these people who have done a lot of inquiry into these things come out with their findings that one listens to the sound of Om. In all the cosmic movements, this sound is heard. And also scientifically, when people observe what is the most subtlest form of particle which is the ingredient of all that we see in this gross world, then they come to understanding through their own scientific observations that these are subatomic particles. And each one of these subatomic particles has a vibration. And this subatomic particle is nothing but a vibration of energy. And each one of these vibrations of energy has a sound associated with it. There cannot be any vibration without the sound being associated with it. So that sound, when it is investigated upon by the subtle and scientific minds also, they come to understand that it is some peculiar, unique sound. There has to be some sound. But when these meditators go and deeply meditate upon the Anu and the Paramanu and the sound that is associated with the Paramanus and all, then they come to understand that it is Om. That way also. And we also see through Vedantic angle that all these appearances that are there in the form of creation, the objects of creation, the situations or beings in creation, all these are appearing in the substratum of pure consciousness, which is not other than this Omkara. So, either way we look at Omkara, this is understood to be the substratum for the whole existence. That is why this becomes very important in the life of a spiritual practitioner or a sadhaka. That is why we find Omkara preceding any type of mantra and every mantra. And when we explore into the levels of Omkara, we come to understand that Omkara is the source of all that which is manifested in this universe. Behind each one of these manifestations, there is this Omkara. Om alone has manifested as all these appearances, various things that are there in this creation. We will come to see how we can understand this. Please repeat this sloka, which is connected with Omkara. There is no need for you to look into those sheets. I will tell you when it is to be done. Omkara sarva vedanam. Omkara sarva vedanam. Sarastattva prakashakaha. Sarastattva prakashakaha. Tena chitta samadhanam. Tena chitta samadhanam. Mumukshunam prakashyate. Mumukshunam prakashyate. Sri Sureshwaracharya ji, one of the great disciples of Sri Adi Shankara, when he begins to write his Vartika or the lucid commentary on Panchikarana, he uses this invocation as a respectful prayer for not only offering the respects to Omkara, but also explaining what is Omkara. That serves both these purposes. Offering our respects, seeking the blessings, and also understanding what it is. He says, Omkara sarva vedanam sarastattva prakashakaha. Omkaraha saraha sarva vedanam. Omkara is the essence of all the Vedas. What is said in Vedas is directly related to our healthy, happy, peaceful, successful way of living. That is all. If it is properly understood in the true way of interpretation, how to live life happily, what we have to do, what all powers we have to invoke, where they are available, what is the method, how to energize ourselves, how to get the influx of higher levels of energy, how to lift ourselves to those capable levels, how to increase our capacity, how to build up that energy and enthusiasm, how to draw all that higher level of energies from various sources. What are the techniques? What are the methods? What are the procedures? What are the ways and means? Just as we take vitamins, proteins, nutrients, various other things for our health physically, these are for our physical health also, psychological, mental, emotional, intellectual, spiritual. All types of personality needs are served by the Vedas. That is all is Veda. Only because it is in Samskrita, we think it is something foreign and unconnected. As Gurudev used to say, whenever he used to conduct any type of these texts, in any native language, anywhere, he used to say, Samskrita is nothing but mispronounced mother tongue. So he used to bring it very closer to us. You mispronounce your mother tongue, that is Samskrita. Meaning bringing people closer to understanding that yes, it is not something to be kept at distance. So, Vedas means like our vitamins. That is all. So maybe different things are explained in different ways, and various ways they have to be understood. That is all it is. So, if a person knows one Veda by regularly practicing it, probably for 12 years, or some people practice each Veda for 18 years, average it is 12 years, then he knows the Veda, and then when a person can stand various other questions that are posed onto him by not one person, but many persons sitting around him, and then he is able to answer all of them by citing, quoting, answering, then he is said to be a person qualified to claim as the one who knows the Veda. So he is called as a Vedi, one who knows the Veda. So like that, somebody knows 2 Vedas, he is Dvivedi. 3 Vedas, Trivedi. 4 Vedas, Chaturvedi. So, according to Sri Sureshwaracharya's interpretation, what is the essence of all the Vedas? Omkara. What has been explained in all the Vedas is Omkara. What are the various other gods and goddesses and sources of power and various things that energize us and give us life and health and healing and all that what we want and desire fulfillment, wish fulfillment, wants can be attained, all that. From where we can draw all these powers, various other things that are powerful also, they again finally are connected to Omkara. So, Omkara is the essence of all the Vedas. And we know that Omkara is the essence of all Vedas. So what are we now? Chaturvedis. So where is the need to go through all that? In essence, you know. You know the essence. Once you know the essence, that only is everything. So what is the essence of all Vedas? Omkara. That is all. So next time if somebody talks about Veda, you can clearly tell, I know the essence of it. I don't want to go into the details and all. I don't have time. What? Omkara. What is the essence? That's all. And how Omkara became all this? That come to study group. Omkara sarva vedanam saras tattva prakashakaha. What it does? It illumines the supreme truth. If we hold on to Omkara, do the practice of Omkara, then it will remove the veil that is there on the truth. It will illumine the Omkara, which is the ultimate truth, the pure consciousness. It will illumine that truth to us. Saras tattva prakashakaha. Whatever is the truth, different religions talk about truth in a different way. But whatever might be that way in which they explain, but ultimately, can we understand it or not? Can we know it or not? Can we illuminate, meaning experience it or not? Yes. And what is that with which we can get this revelation? What is that which reveals the truth? That is Omkara. Omkara reveals the highest truth. Whatever might be our thinking and understanding about our capacities, our capabilities, but this is assured that if we hold on to Omkara, highest truth is revealed by the Omkara. Saras tattva prakashakaha. And then what is said thereafter is something which is very, very important and the most important thing. Tena chitta samadhanam. Chitta samadhanam tena. Tena chitta samadhanam mumukshunam prakashyate. The method of merging the mind in the idea of oneness with Brahman. Our mind, which has its own ways of functioning, it has its own components. But all things are there in our mind, we know. Whether other people know it or not, but we know. My mind, it is an encyclopedia of everything. Not one thing, everything. You name it, it is there in my mind. So my mind is filled with all these things. It is merged in the idea of oneness with many things. That is why we get identified with anything that appears in our mind. Whenever the mind tries to know anything, that particular thing which the mind wants to know has to appear in the form of a thought in the mind, in the form of a vritti in the mind. It has to become a portion of the mind, and then only the mind can know it. So, it is in the mind. The process of knowing an object itself is included in the mind, is with the mind. So, the mind is immediately influenced by it, and we get identified with and involved with it and get lost in it and forget about ourselves and totally end up somewhere. That will be happening all the time for us. Mind becomes one with the idea of anything. Any inconvenience anywhere, because of any situation or incident or circumstance or happening, that particular moment mind gets merged in the idea of oneness with inconvenience. Conveniently, inconvenience. It gets merged into it. Nothing else but that only. Only inconvenience will be there visible to us everywhere in this world. Because mind has merged into that idea of oneness with it. Like that, any one of these dualistic experiences, we will remain the same with them. Because our mind gets merged in. Somebody prays, our mind gets merged into oneness with that. Into the idea of oneness with it. Suppose there is tension, with it. Suppose there is criticism, with it. Suppose there is honor, with it. Anything that appears in the mind, we get merged into that idea of oneness with it. That has been our practice. Always. That is why we get into so many moods, so many experiences, so many types of things over which we have no control, and we are helplessly affected, stranded by these things. So how to lift ourselves from these unwanted experiences which are so dominating, so controlling, so overpowering, so overruling? How to get out of them? By changing what? We had tried so many ways, by changing people, changing objects, changing situations, changing so many things, changing names also. Everything we changed. But still things remain the same. We don't seem to come to a state where we remain in such a level where the world has no control over us, no power over us, no domination over us. The world seems to be restricting us, confining us, imprisoning us, possessing us, positioning us as it wants us to be. What is the way out? The one way out is Tena Chitta Samadhanam. One way out is Omkara. Merging the mind in the idea of oneness with Brahman, with the aid of Omkara. If you get into this practice of Omkara, what it does to us is, it merges our mind in the idea of oneness with Brahman. Wherever we are, whatever work we are involved with, whatever level we are, whichever situation we are into, from there it transports us into that level of oneness with Brahmic consciousness, irrespective of our color, caste, creed, nationality, religion, whatever it is. It directly lifts us and takes us and then places our mind in the idea of oneness with Brahman. Everyone is qualified for this, provided one concentrates upon this. Allows the mind to merge in the idea of oneness with it, with proper understanding. Mumukshunam prakasyate. This idea of merging the mind in the idea of oneness with Brahman is prakasyate, being explained here for mumukshunam, for the guidance of the aspirants after liberation, meaning those people who want to get out of this bondage, get out of this control of so many negative things and weaknesses and defects. How to get out of them? This is the way. So Omkara is the way. So next time when we remember Omkara, Omkara is the one which reveals the highest truth and also makes our mind get merged into the idea of oneness with Brahman. Nothing else is required except this sadhana. That itself is more than enough for anyone. So, we have heard many times various interpretations of the Omkara. Akara, Ukara and Makara. When we chant also, Auma, these three things are there in it. Omkara is said to be of 7 planes of consciousness, 7 levels of its existence. Omkara. One is the Akara plane of consciousness, the waking world, and the gross body, and the Vakar. Then is the second plane of Omkara, Ukara, the dream world, the subtle body, and the dreamer. And then the third plane of consciousness, Makara, deep sleep, the causal body, and the deep sleeper. So 3 different planes of existence are connected with Omkara. Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji very clearly explains this to us. These 3 planes of our existence. We exist in the waking world, and we have the gross body, and we have the gross world. Similarly, we exist in the dream world, we have the dream body and the dream objects. And then we get into the causal level, the deep sleep, where we don't know what we are, where we are, how we are. But still we exist. That is why we wake up and disappoint others. So, all these 3 different planes of our existence, planes of consciousness, different worlds in which we exist. Akara, Ukara, Makara. When we chant also, Om, these 3 things are there. A, U, Ma. In most important religions also, these alphabets are there, depending upon the people who discovered the truth in their way. But somehow the commonality of the alphabets is there in various kinds of expressions. Whether it is Om or Omen or Amin or various things. Same thing. When anyone with sincere application of the mind, with trust in the highest truth, proceeds in the spiritual path, goes deep into these practices, comes to discover the same truth. In today's world, there are various modern philosophers in the Western world who have also experienced the inner state of pure consciousness, and when they speak out, they speak the same content of the Upanishads. And thereafterwards, when they come across these scriptural things in India, they are more happy that whatever they are experienced is already explained. And they also don't hesitate to cite and quote these things. Latest philosophers in the Western world. So, how we take our mind and merge it into that idea of oneness with Brahman, that is what is this Omkara is for. We are carefully led step by step so that we can merge our mind into it. Now, we have to understand that the gross world, according to the Panchikarana and according to the various masters who explain about the theory of creation, the gross world has come out from the subtle world. The subtle is the cause for the gross. Then the subtle world has come out from the causal. So this way we can understand our three levels of general experience: causal world, subtle world, gross world. Gross world is manifested from the subtle world, subtle world has manifested from the causal world, and then causal world has manifested from where? Question mark. From there, the scriptures lead us. That which we know and that which we don't know is connected, linked very intelligently, rationally, logically, and then explained to us. Akara, Ukara, Makara. Then higher than these three worlds, from where this causal also has come into existence. Whether we call it from the individual standpoint as Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna, Waker, Dreamer, Deep Sleeper, or from the macrocosmic total standpoint as Virata, Hiranyagarbha and Ishvara. Ishvara, along with its Maya, has brought forth the level of Hiranyagarbha, and from there the level of Virata, which is the gross level, has come into existence. So Akara, Ukara, Makara, gross, subtle, causal, waking, dream, deep sleep. From where this has come into existence? What is the higher plane of consciousness higher to this causal, which represents here as Makara? That state is called as Bija. Bija is fourth plane of consciousness, which is none other than Omkara. Bija means seed. In this creation, we see so many varieties of things and beings. So many beings are there. Even for that matter, food grains or fruits or plants or anything that is there, flowers. How many are there? Innumerable number of things, countless number of things. But everything has its own peculiar color, peculiar form, peculiar smell. Uniqueness, speciality is associated with everything that is there. Who designed them? From where they have come into existence? To study them, a portion of them, 1% of them, it takes a lifetime. How many things are there? Who designed them? From where they have come? One way or other, we come to understand that all of them were at one time or other in the form of seed. Seed. They were seeds. Even you and I were at one time were seeds. And such a big body and such a hefty person, and then with so much of status and then popularity and then heavy weight in the society, and then was a seed. It looks awkward to accept. I seed. I was a seed. Helpless seed. But that is the truth. Seed. From that seed, a mighty personality has manifested, which even the parents did not know that this seed will become such a monster. They thought it would become an angel. And so that they thought they can gel with it. What do we know? What is there in the seed? When we look at the seed, but what comes out of it, we don't know. So, that seed level is a plane of consciousness which gives rise to manifestation of all the things. I am not talking only about the gross seed, subtle seed. Gross seed is taken here so that we can understand that from a seed it comes out. In the seed there is design. Who has created the design? Which engineering company? Which architect? Whatever might be our intellectual levels and intelligent levels, we don't know what is there in what. Nobody knew something comes out of Iceland volcano can shake the whole world. What is that which shook the world? Smoke? Smoke! Yeah, smoke. The smoke chokes not the people but the airplanes. So in this creation, we can't even handle smoke. When it shows its Vishwarupa, magnified form when it shows, like that, we do not know which seed has what form in it. So all the seeds from that seed level has come out this world. Go to any flower, any plant, any fruit, any food grain, anything, seed level. One form or other, it is seed level. That is higher than this. That is why it's called a bija. Omkara in the fourth plane of consciousness is called as bija. What becomes bija? Something has to be there that becomes bija. What is that? That is bindu. Dot. Bindu. If you are asked to draw anything, first dot and then start. Circle, draw a circle. How? Dot. And then it begins. And when you look at the shows about galaxies, how they came into existence, they take us into, from this, to galaxy, and then galaxy to super galaxy, and then show the cluster of galaxies, where our super galaxy is a dot among the many dots. When our super galaxy itself is a dot in the screen of cosmos, how much is our dimension? We can't even call insignificant. That also is insignificant. Dimensionlessness. But actually dot is dimensionless. Dot has no dimension only. And dot which has no dimension can create many things that have dimension. Are? Very surprising. So, bindu. It is called as germ. germ, then bija, seed. That germ is bindu, dot. In Guru Stotram also we say, bindu nada kalatitaha. The Sadguru is even beyond the state of bindu. That is the state which Sadguru attains. Beyond this state also, beyond this plane of consciousness is Sadguru. Only thing is, for our convenience, he has manifested in the gross world and interacts with us and looks similar to us, undergoing various kinds of experiences. Externally it appears that Guru also is undergoing all these things in subtle world, causal world, so that he is also like us and we are also like him, and then we will be comfortable. We will not feel that Guru means a strange personality, come from some unidentified galaxy and drop it down from unidentified flying object. And strange person, extraterrestrial. Not like that. All this is to make us feel at home with Om. There was one person who went to a hotel and wanted to book a room in the hotel. And he asked the manager there, how would one feel by staying in this hotel? That man said, wonderful, great, lovely, joyous, happy, peaceful, delighted. But this man doesn't seem to be really touched by these exaggerations. What else? He asked. What else? Then this manager thought and said, you would feel as if you are at home, in your own home. That man said, nonsense. Same problems here also. And I have to pay for this when they are freely available there. Better I go home only. But he understands home means that. What can you do? Feel at home means you are at home, that's all. But he means home means problem. So, out of these problems, we will be taken into that dimension or level where we will feel at home, not only with that level of consciousness, but also with all other levels of consciousness where the Om has manifested as gross, subtle and causal levels, causal things. That is why we are being taken there, by knowing which everything else becomes known. So that germ, Bindu. And what became Bindu is germ. What became germ? Something has to be there, no germ. The potency to germinate becomes germ. Potency to germinate becomes the germ. Then the germ becomes the seed. Then the seed springs forth the causal, causal springs forth the subtle, subtle springs forth the gross. And here you are, you and I, gross and engrossed in this world. The potency to germinate is called as Shakti. The Shakti, whether you call it as Trishakti Swarupini or Daivika Shakti or Maya or Brahman's creative power, that is it. Whether you can call this Shakti as Vishnu's Lakshmi or Ishvara's Parvati or Brahma's Saraswati or a combination of all. Whatever name you want to give, you call Mary, whatever name, Shakti. That is Shakti. Durga, any name, Shakti. That Shakti Avastha, Shakti state of Omkara. Sixth plane of consciousness of Omkara. Fourth one is Bija, fifth one is Bindu, sixth one is Shakti. Potency to germinate. Now potency to germinate Shakti becomes germ. From where the Shakti has come? I thought Shakti is ultimate. Shakti is not completely independently conscious of itself. Energy is not conscious by itself, it is inert. So the higher than that Shakti is Shanta Avastha of Omkara, where even this manifestation of the creative power has not yet happened. Om is in itself as Om, absolutely peaceful. Out of that Shanta Avastha, which is one with Paramapurusha, the supreme consciousness, Brahmic consciousness, that is Om in the 7th level. Shanta, one with Paramapurusha. Out of that state of oneness with Paramapurusha, it remained as Paramapurusha, the Brahmic state of consciousness. From there, it manifested the Shakti, the power, potency to create. From there, the creation started. Then Bindu, then Bija, and from there Makara, then Ukara, then Akara, then this Akara form. If this is clearly understood, whichever level it is, ever since that manifestation of the Shakti happened, this Omkara can take us from the gross level up to that Shanta Avastha and make us get merged into the idea of oneness with Paramapurusha. En route, meet all other divine beings and say hello, hi to them also. Yeah, at every level there will be some divine celestial beings at that particular level who are manifested to serve that purpose at that level, and their causes are different. Well, we are going, we say hello, hi. Like we drive from here to somewhere and then en road there is a rest area. We will rest also, and sometimes we'll go and then check also, then some eat also, some drink also, and some walk also. And then we come across so many people also, hi, hello, like that. We will meet so many other strange beings, very unique beings, more powerful than what we are, more diviner than what we are. And finally we are taken to, oh, Omkara is a GPS. Yeah, GPS. GPS to Brahman. Is there any GPS like that? Omkara, GPS to Brahman. But this is updated, not outdated GPSs there are some. One person was driving me from Columbus to Pittsburgh, depending on GPS. All streets that GPS says are totally different from what are there on the boards. Not one thing is there, one thing also is not there. In April it happened, one thing also. Then I asked him, will we reach Pittsburgh? And I said, don't worry, trust my intelligence. Trust your intelligence? About what? About understanding the comparative study of what streets are told here and what streets are visible. It says something and there are, nothing is there like that. Not even anywhere, any board doesn't mention that. I was just watching what is he doing. And he takes a turn. And then finally, next place, there will be something else. Finally, we reached Pittsburgh. Surprising. Every guess was correct. Exactly what is there is not there. Then when we inquired, they said, oh, this is an outdated GPS. What? But for a few minutes, I thought it is super GPS. Future street names are being told here. which are not yet decided by the human intelligence, that is already told. So, whatever it is, this way we come to understand that Omkara takes us to that ultimate level. Every level it lifts us and shows, makes us experience. What is this? It teaches us. We can understand it. We can experience it. We can know it. We can feel it. We can be with it. And then move on, move on, move on, move on, move on. But hold on to one thing only one thing, which can beam through all these levels and then take us to that pure conscious state, Omkara. So that is why it is 7 levels. That's what we chanted in Namasmarana. Nadarupam Omkaram. That's what we did now. Akara matram, Mukara matram. So all this. There were 2 students who were brilliant in their studies and also in their performance. And they had examination on Monday, 2 days later. And till Friday they studied and studied and studied and studied and studied. And they were so confident of doing exceptionally well in the exam. And on Friday afternoon, they got an invitation from another group of students of another university, 300 miles away, for a weekend party. Day in, day out party. Night out also party. But these people thought, why at all go there? But finally they said, anyway we are prepared and let us accept the invitation. For a break, let us go there. Drive for 5-6 hours and okay, go 6 hours. And then have the party, and early morning on Monday we will wake up and then start driving and reach the examination hall exactly in time and then do our exam. So they went and they had lot of fun with all the other group and enjoyed, and then nicely morning, evening, night till early morning. Went on non-stop. Fun. Then they thought they will take rest early hours of Monday and then get up very early and then go. They took rest, but by the time they woke up, it was noon. Then they started driving and somehow managed to reach by afternoon, before evening. Then they rushed into the professor's chamber and he was there. Examination was conducted and then he had been correcting the papers and then he was doing some other job. They dashed into his room and said, "Sir, we had been to a place to serve people, to help them, to assist them, to uplift them, to bring them out of their depressed levels and poor levels. We did our best and we went in for a service. For 2 days, day in, day out, we were serving and serving and serving. And then afterwards, we started driving to reach this examination hall. But what to do? One of the tires was flat. And then we called AAA, AA, single A. They were also on weekend. So nobody responded. So somehow we had to find help and we started driving. This is the time we could reach. So please, sir, conduct re-exam for us." And the professor looked at them. "Okay, since you have gone there for a great, noble, social, uplifting, relieving, saving cause, and also you had hurdles. Okay, tomorrow I will conduct the exam." But he said, not the same question paper. Different, because they will already know what is the question paper. So, tomorrow, same time, you come in the morning as it was supposed to be conducted. Today, tomorrow come. Oh, they went in the evening to their hostel rooms and then they had some great party in the evening also. Because of the joy that they successfully fooled the professor and convinced him for a re-exam. Next day morning they came And then the professor greeted them and said, only two of you are there. So you go into hall A, you go into hall B. Both of you sit in separate examination halls and hand over your cell phones and various iPhone and then various other BlackBerry, Whiteberry, Cherry and all that. No question of any other communicative information. Submit. And then you sit there, I will come and then conduct the exam. Then they sat there and all other doors and windows are also closed except the one opening. They went inside, gave the question paper and came back and said, I will collect it after 3 hours. You answer. Then they'll look into the question paper. Both are separate. In separate rooms, no communication. Then they looked at the question paper. It had only 2 questions. Only 2 questions. One question of 5 points or 5 marks. Another question of 95 marks. 95 points. One question was subject related and they looked at it. They answered. In 2 minutes they answered. Second question, which tire was flat? "95 points. Both of them were looking into which tire was flat. They told tire was flat, but they didn't tell which tire. Then one candidate thinks, suppose if I write front tire, that fellow writes rear tire, then there is no point. Then he will know that we are bluffing. So 95 marks gone. So suppose I write rear tire and he writes front tire, and then I don't know what will happen. Again I will be lost. Failed. They don't even give grade also. Because what they grade they will give for 5 marks. 95, utter failure. What to do? Then okay, I'll write front left, he may write front right. And they were thinking about tires and tires and tires, they were tired. In knowing which tire was flat, they were flat. And I thought, why, what all, if I write this, I write that, and they were going round and round this combination. Which one? If I write this, they will write, and no pager, no iPhone, no pager, nothing. What to do? The whole 2 hours, 58 minutes, after writing 2 minutes, answering the first question, they were thinking and worrying, and then all sorts of tension-filled thinking was there. Finally, they were exhausted. They came out of the examination halls after the time is over. They did not write. Both of them looked at each other. Flat. They understood. Flat. Then they went to the professor and said, Sir, please excuse us. We did that and we told that this is the truth. Please, sorry. Professor said, okay, it happens. I see so many of such answers. The way in which the people answer, then only I understand. How many answers he must have seen in his career? Everybody giving different answers. Like that, we are also cornered and caught up in this world of Maya. We do not know how it makes us go flat. We can't answer the questions, the testing things that it poses to us. At any level it can, because every level the same creative power, same Maya, same illusory avidya. What to do? What is the rescuing thing for us? Holding on to what we can live successfully, safely, protect ourselves from these onslaught of illusory things which can catch us unawares and then fix us in something which we don't want also, corner us into so many things, confusions. What is that which we can hold on to? Omkara. Whatever level we are, gross level, subtle level, causal level, higher level, even more higher level, any level other than pure consciousness, Omkara will help us, assist us, take care of us. This is of 7 planes of existence or consciousness, from Akara up to Shanta. And even in another way also, When we see that akara is only gross and ukara is only subtle and makara is only causal and karana, then after chanting Om, that is there. That is called a synthetic sound. Akara, ukara, makara, and then synthetic sound. That synthetic sound has got 4 planes of consciousness according to earlier interpretation, what we saw now. And that same synthetic sound is interpreted in a different manner also for our better understanding. That when we see people talk about these 7 worlds that are there, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. When they chant Bhur, Bhuvaswaha, Mahajanaha, Tapaha, Satyagam, Satyam, like that. In the Gayatri Mantra also they will come across all these 7 planes of consciousness. 7 above, 7 below. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tala, Atala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. Lower worlds and higher worlds. We are in the Bhuloka above 6, including Bhuloka 7 and below 7. We will be transiting all these lokas depending upon our visa. Not granted according to our request, but granted according to their choice based upon our karmas. We go and then apply in embassy. No. They will call for application. No application. Visa will come straight home. Depending upon our karma, like we speed and then the photograph and then the fine comes to our home. Please pay. Same thing. We are going everywhere, doing all sorts of karmas. All have camera. All have camera. Everything goes into that department. That higher department. They all will look all this karma, that karma, that karma, that karma, that karma, this fine, that benefit, this fine, all calculate permutation, profit and loss account. And then, okay, based upon this level of existence. So this birth and this yoni and this level, plane and this address and all decide, visa comes. When visa comes to arrive somewhere, depart from here. It is a departure card come arrival card. Both. The moment the visa comes, the moment they see visa, gone. Because immediately transported. Not in a gross way, subtle way. Why carry all this filthy baggage and dump it here? Trash can. Throw in trash. All trash, throw. And all subtle things. Like nowadays, they carry from computer to computer. Pen drive. Subtle pen drive. In a miniature form. That cards. Simple. All loaded. Samskaras, vasanas, karmas, good, bad, loaded. And transport. Like we do, we don't even take that, through internet we transport, All heavy files also we can link and like photographs and all we do. Transfer. Same thing. All put them in a link and transfer the link. And we transfer. We go and appear. Before we appear, the link is already there. They will all be watching us when this strange category is coming. That is what we are. Now we can understand better about the functioning in other lokas. How everything goes there. Before we go, the record is there. So every time thumb impression, 5 fingers and their head also is there. So all forehead lines will be there. Not only these lines also. So the moment we go there, all lines. They will look at the lines and then allot our place and body with all composition. And all that. It is made to order only. It is made to order how much beautiful, how much ugly, how much fair and how much dark and how much health in this and trouble in that and all that. All components. Made to order. But only thing is we don't know what orders we have placed. Because we place orders by our living karmas. So we don't know. Oh, that's how it happens. So then we go. So wherever we are, whichever loka, whichever world, whatever we are doing, wherever we think we are bound and confined and feel strange and we don't know what is the way out. One way out of any loka, any state, any existence, whatever might be the trouble and confusion we are undergoing, we have one solace, one solution that can take us out from there and straight take us to the pure consciousness. That is Om. That is Omkara. So that is why the synthetic sound which has got akara, ukara, makara, Om is called as transcendental, stula, sukshma, karana, and then mahakarana. That mahakarana is divided into different worlds. Maharloka, which is called as a devotional world, Maharloka, according to one interpretation, fourth world, fourth higher world. Then Janaloka, which is called as creative world. Then Tapoloka, which is called as contemplative world. And Satyaloka, seventh plane, real world. The reality, Satya. And to reach Satya, we need contemplation. That's why contemplative world, Tapoloka. And to get into the contemplation, we have to become creative. Janaloka. To get that creativity, the mind has to be calmed and emotions have to be managed and then everything as ego has to be surrendered. So devotional Maharloka. What has to be surrendered? The Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Grasa, Subtle, Causal, everything surrendered at the Maharloka, devotional world. Then get into the creative level, then get into the Tapoloka, and then experience what is truth, real, Satya. That way also this Omkara is. What is there in Satyaloka is Omkara at that level of manifestation. Then what is there in the other loka? The same thing, Tapoloka, where all people are doing tapas, where you will meet all rishis of the highest order, who are there since creation. Sapta rishis also we will meet. And we will also get opportunity to meet Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumaras also. They are very much there even now. All vigorous change happens in Stula Sukshma Karana only. In that world, it's all there, same thing. Contemplative world. And once in a while, those rishis from that Tapoloka come down and then appear to somebody, guide someone, bless and go. Even in 21st century, there are people who had that experiences of meeting that great rishis. So they are not people who born, gone. They are correctly visited, left. But still existing. Any time they can come. Whatever we are doing, whenever we are trying to invoke Om, 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 it will appear on their screens. Each rishi has got his own chamber of all computers. And then he looks around. Suddenly this fellow is doing more sadhana. Okay, send some intuitive thought. He will transfer it. Then it will come and fall into our head. Some great creative idea, ha 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 ha, what it came from there. There is no any creative idea which comes and which we think, wow, what a thing I got. It got from somewhere because they are already watching. Who wants what? Constantly. Have you not seen these people who are stock brokers and then people who help in stock trading and all computers all around? They will be watching. And then anything happening anywhere, they will know. Like that, 360 degrees computer. Surround sound and surround vision. They will be there. They know everything. Because they are in that level of Sahasra Sirsha Purusha. Everywhere they have heads and eyes. So they know what is happening. That is why the trust and faith we have in them, definitely it comes to us as a grace and blessing and transports us into higher level, clears all this clutter that is there around us and then these unwanted things, and then one ray of consciousness will lift us into that higher levels. That is why this Omkara is the best way to contact them. Phone number for all rishis, password, code to all rishis and all divine beings, including Parabrahman. One code, one password. But each person will understand depending upon the intensity with which we press the iPhone. That's all. In future, there will be no laptops also to touch. Now touch. There is no touch. Then think afterwards. See. think, and it will be there. That is all. So, all this is there at different levels and planes of consciousness. All is Omkara. So if we take support of Omkara either by chanting it or by listening to it or by doing japa of it or contemplation or reflection or meditation, whichever depending upon our capacity and the intensity of our sadhana, we will be uplifted by that Omkara. And that Omkara is everything in this creation. At whatever level it is, that is what Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji wants us to understand according to Sri Sureshwara. That is what my Guru wants to teach. That is why when he writes Vartika, he gives this explanation, Sri Sureshwara. It is an introductory explanation to his Guru's text. So that is what it is said. Now you can look into those. It is some words are in Hindi, in Devanagari and all that. That is all. And if those who don't know, doesn't matter. I have already told it, mispronounced in native language. Gurudev Uvacha. Adhataha Paramahamsanam Samadhi Vidhim Vyakhyāsyāmaha Adhataha Paramahamsanam Samadhi Vidhim Vyakhyāsyāmaha. Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji wants us to know about that level which is attained by the Paramahamsas, who become one with the pure state of consciousness, having no desires and no demands and no wishes and no limitations, and they become infinite and unlimited, having no binding factors whatsoever, and revel in that state of bliss beatitude. That is called as Samadhi of Paramahamsas. So wanted to explain that so that we also can go and reach that higher level. Athataha. Athaha is one very auspicious word which is also called as another expression of Bhagavan himself. In almost all the great sutras that are there, in all those sutras, the first word will be Athataha. Athaha. So that is why it is auspicious also. And Athataha also means thereafter. Thereafter, what after? After one experiences this world again and again and then has seen that same things go on repeating again and again. So we want something creative, something new, something fresh, something different, at least for a change. Then, thereafterwards. Adhataha also means after the individual has acquired the fourfold qualifications. Viveka, discrimination, Vairagya, dispassion, Shamadamadi, Shatka Sampatti, the sixfold qualifications, and in addition to that, Mumukshutva, the desire for attaining liberation from all unnecessary entanglements. After all these four have been practiced, Athataha, thereafterwards, one becomes eligible for highest state of Paramahamsas. Paramahamsanam Samadhi Vidhim Vyakhyāsyāmaha. So that type of thing is being explained here, said here, narrated here, told here, taught here. We reach that state. What bliss beatitude they are into, how we can go there. After gaining these qualifications of a Vedantic student, after seeing the world again and again and feeling that enough with these repetitive things, all things are packaged differently but same content, same stuff. Each birth, different forms and names come, but same character, same experiences, same stupidity, same ignorance and same stress and same tension and same worries and different names, different wives, different husbands, different roles, different people, different places, different countries, different continents, but same thing go on. Because the basic structure of the human mind is same. So those people who say, how many times? Every time we think that discovering is new, something new, same thing will be there. Only covering will be new. What is covered is same, because what covers is ignorance only. When ignorance covers, you open the ignorant cover, more ignorance will be there inside. So that is why Adi Shankaracharya says, we are now being led into this. What is that? Om Satchabdavacham Om Sat Shabda Vachyam Avidya Shabalam Brahma Avidya Shabalam Brahma Om Sat Shabda Vachyam Avidya Shabalam Brahma Om. He started off with Om. What is Om? Now you know. Omkara sarva vedanam saras tattva prakashakaha tena chitta samadhanam mumukshunam prakashyate. 7 planes of consciousness, 7 different levels. Next time anybody asks you Om, first give them coffee. Sit down. Because this is not so simple. Om, sit down. And then start. Omkara sarva vedanam. All planes and all levels. But give them 2 times coffee more. Because they would have exhausted it because of so many things that also you are telling. Yes. Recently I got connected to what? Om. Special connection. Stay connected. 24 hours online. Om. That is what it is. No payment, no credit, no debit, no cards are swiped, no tears are wiped afterwards. Free Omkara. Free, available everywhere. Anybody, anywhere can contact. So that Om Sat Shabda Vachyam. Vachyam, what is being said, what is being told, what is being addressed to. Addressed as Vachyam. Whatever is being told or said or addressed as Sat. Sat Shabda Vachyam. Avidya Shabalam Brahma. Sat is equal to whatever is being told or said or addressed as Sat is Avidya Shabalam Brahma, meaning that Brahma along with the Avidya. At the time of creation, when somebody has to explain the theory of creation, there can't be pure state of consciousness. In pure state of consciousness, there is no creative power, there is no Maya, there is nothing else other than it except non-dual Brahman, there is nothing. So there is nobody to listen, nobody to say, nothing happening, nowhere, anything, so no question. So when we have to think about the theory of creation, then it has to be Avidya Shabalam Brahma, Brahman along with Maya, Brahman along with Avidya. That is what. Vishnu along with Lakshmi, Shiva along with Parvati, Brahma along with Saraswati, whatever we want to think, we think. So that Brahman along with Maya, meaning Saguna Brahma. From Saguna Brahma, everything starts. Otherwise, Nirguna Brahma, what is there to think about? Except Nirguna, what is there? Nothing. You can't think also. To think, internal organ is not there. Because internal organ is a product of Avidya. Avidya only is not there. Maya is not there. So what can you think? Where is the think? Thinker is not there. The world beyond Maya, Brahman alone exists. As Brahman, in Brahman, by Brahman, for Brahman. That's all. Nothing else. So where is the question of thinking, asking, questioning, explaining? Nothing. From that, the Saguna Brahma state has manifested Maya, and then he alone created that Maya, and then now he is appearing as Saguna Brahma along with Maya. Avidya Shabalam Brahma. But please remember, just because he is along with Avidya, he is along with Maya. Even though Maya is considered as very powerful, Maya is not more powerful. People go on thinking, oh, Maya is so powerful. Maya is almost equally powerful to God. Sometimes I think Maya is overpowering God also. More powerful. That's why people are afraid of Maya. Maya, 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 Maya. Simple. Maya is along with Brahman. Brahman is along with Maya. A CEO of a company is given the facility and privilege of a driver-driven car. Maybe in India. You're self-driven. Driver-driven car. So he had to go to some place. So the CEO has come down the stairs, and then he is walking down, and near the car, the driver opens the door, and then somebody calls the CEO. So both of them are standing on the same floor, side by side, and then somebody is talking. Another CEO of another company is talking to him, and he is answering. Just because both are standing side by side, their status is equal. Status of a CEO and status of a driver, is it equal? No. Driver's status is different, CEO status. Nobody will ask driver to come and address other CEOs in a meeting. Different status. Even though inside we respect as same self, but outside because of responsibility, knowledge, status, different. And he may drive and both of them be in the same car. Does it mean to say that both are equal? Just because they are sitting in the same car, standing on the same floor, walking together on the same path. Not at all. Similarly, Brahman is also with Maya. Status of Maya is different, status of Brahman is different. No comparison, no question of any equality. Please understand this. That is why Maya is always under the control of, order of, management of, governance of Brahman. That is why Bhagavan Sri Krishna also, hold on to me, fix your mind upon me, be surrendered unto me. Think of me, meditate upon me, be devoted to me. I will take you beyond Maya. That's all. Me is not an individualized ego there, universal spirit of consciousness. That me. The space infinitely, if it is there, we can't understand. Once we look at the space through our window or our door and then something, through the small portion, that big thing can be understood. That is why he has come. As whatever name or form, avatar, like that. Whatever form it is, he has come. So, avidya or Maya is with Brahman. Now, this avidya and Maya can also be understood in a different way. So now please understand that Maya is not equal to Brahman. Maya is nowhere near to Brahman. But Maya is a creative power of Brahman. Don't have any idea that what is created by God, even though it is having all magical powers and this and that, it is more powerful than God. Can never be. Devil can never be greater than the God. Never. Nowhere near, nowhere equal. It cannot be. It appears to be for ignorant minds, but it can never be. It can't be. Where is Maya and where is Bhagavan? So then, sun is there. Don't go out and see. Now it is not there. Yesterday it was there. Sun there in the sky. And then when you look at the sun, it is very bright and then brilliantly shining and very, very lustrous, splendorous. And then after a while, then there are clouds. Clouds come and then cover the sun. Then sun is not visible. Right now, no sun is visible. Do you mean the sun is not there? Sun is there. But what? Clouds have covered the sun. So from our standpoint here, when we go out and look up, the clouds have covered the sun. This is our transactional statement. Clouds covered the sun. Sun is under a cloud cover. Sometimes clouds can cover or one cloud also can cover. Can cloud cover? Intellectually, if we think, scientifically, if we think, can cloud ever cover sun? Impossible. If cloud goes near the sun, it will become evaporated, vanished because of that heat. And what is the dimension of the cloud and what is the dimension of sun? So big is sun. And so, cloud. And cloud covering the sun. What cloud can cover the sun? Where is cloud? Where is sun? What is the distance? What is the dimension? Cloud can never cover the sun. But in our transaction, cloud covers the sun. What cloud covers? Our view of the sun. Our viewing of the sun. Our knowledge of the sun is covered by the cloud. Avidya or Maya can never cover Brahman. Brahman is the sun, Maya or Avidya is the cloud, and we are there on this earth under the cloud. It covers our knowledge of Brahman, our view of Brahman, our understanding of Brahman, our experience of Brahman. Maya can never cover Brahman. Impossible. Sun, cloud, Brahman, Maya. And then there are shadows that appear. Because a cloud comes there and then sun is there shining in its brilliance, and then cloud comes and covers it temporarily for a particular period of time and for a particular area. The cloud covers the sun, and then there the shadow of the cloud falls on the earth. Don't we see the shadows? Shadow is there because cloud. Cloud is there in front of the sun. So this cloud covers the sun. What illumines the cloud that is covering the sun? Sun only. Sun's light only illumines that cloud. When avidya, apparently from a standpoint of understanding, we think that Maya or avidya covers Brahman. The Brahman's light of consciousness only illumines that avidya also. Avidya or Maya cannot be independent in its survival. It has to depend upon consciousness. Just as the cloud covers the sun, but it is illumined by shining because of the light of the sun, Maya also is illumined by the same Brahman. Avidya has its substratum, has Brahman alone as its support. Same way. Same cloud is illumined by the same sun, but it covers. And then the shadow appears. Shadow. Can we say shadows are caused by sun? Attribute the cause to sun? Where? How? What is the connection between sun? The sun is shining in its own way, in its own glory. As itself it is shining. And the cloud is there that has come somewhere in some planet, somewhere the cloud has come. And then that shadow has formed. How can we attribute the causality to Brahman, sun? Similarly, there are masters who take us into higher level and say, Brahman, you cannot attribute the cause to Brahman, cause and effect relationship. Beyond the cause and effect relationship is Brahman. It is even beyond the karya karana sambandha is Parabrahma. Where is this cause, shadow, cloud, and then sun? Can the cloud cause the shadow? No. By independently, it cannot cause the shadow. It cannot shine only. It needs sun. Then only it can cause. How can it cause? It cannot cause. So, when we see these shadows that are there, these shadows and cloud and sun are in a relationless relationship. Relationless relationship. Brahman, Maya, Jagat also is in a state of relationless relationship. This is what it is. We can't say that this is how the Brahman, Maya, Jagat. Jagat is a shadow because of the Maya, and that is there because of the Brahman. That is all. A relationless relationship. There is no actual relationship, but there is a relation. So one person heard this class. All are shadows. I am a shadow. My achievements are shadows. Desires are shadows. Relationships are shadows. Property is shadow. Birth is shadow. Death is shadow. Body is shadow. Everything is shadow. And he was lost in contemplation for a few hours. And then when we woke up, it was 11 p.m. in the night. Then he remembered his wife told him to go to the grocery store and then get groceries. And then come to the house because the people are coming that day to see their daughter. And to ask daughter for marriage. He forgot. And then he was tensed up for a while. And what can you do now? They were supposed to come in the evening and he attended unnecessarily the satsang and gone. And then now no grocery store, no 24-hour store is not there. So he came back. But anyway, he thought while coming back, what is there? All shadows. All shadows. When he went there, the wife started howling, shouting, jumping, what all at him. And then, what do you think? Why you didn't come? They all came to see our daughter, and I could not prepare anything, make anything, because I thought you will get the things from the grocery store and then I will make things for them. Nothing I could give, and they just waited for you, and you also didn't come. What is all this? What? Who will marry our daughter? If this is going to happen like this. He said, which daughter? Huh? Which daughter? Your daughter. My daughter. What is the guarantee? Whose daughter? It is all shadow. Daughters are shadows. Sons are shadows. Prospective son-in-laws are shadows. Engagement is shadow. Marriage is shadow. What are you talking? It is all relationless relationship. I am not related to you. The wife said, what? You are not related to me? What relation? You are a shadow, I am a shadow. Shadow, cloud, sun. Brahman, Maya, Jagat. You understand this truth and then realize. The wife, what are you talking? What is there to talk? All shadow talk. Hare, they felt insulted. Shadow can feel insulted. And our daughter is depressed. Can shadow feel depressed? All depressive shadows. Shadows of depression. All shadow only. It is not real. And then he understood that he is feeling hungry. And then he went to the dining table and then opened the lids. Nothing is there. I am hungry, get the food. Then the wife says, what hunger? Can shadow have hunger? Which food? Food also is shadow. Body itself is shadow. Hunger is another shadow of shadow. And food is shadow of shadow of shadow. What are you asking? Nothing. So this is not for getting confused like that. This is only for understanding what is that relationship. Brahman, Maya, Jagat, sun, cloud, and then the shadows. It is a relationless relationship. We can't attribute relationship to Brahman, but at the same time there is a relation. So Saguna Brahma onwards, the creation begins. And how it proceeds, we will take up tomorrow. Om Sat Shabda Vachyam Avidya Shabalam Brahma. We will see tomorrow what is next. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.